Okay, so far we've looked at instinct theory and drive reduction theory, which mainly focus on behaviors and drives that satisfy our survival needs. However, some psychologists have challenged the idea that all drives and behaviors satisfy basic survival needs. So, for example, if you put toys in front of a baby, they will pick them up and play with them, even though these behaviors clearly don't seem to satisfy any biological survival need. So some psychologists have proposed that humans and other animals may actually have innate biologically based needs for exploration and activity. In other words, a need for stimulation. We have, basically these are needs that motivate us to explore our environments and manipulate objects, especially those that are novel or unusual some way. So basically, what psychologists have done is they have extended the drive reduction theory, and they have argued that whereas biological drives motivate behaviors that reduce bodily arousal, our need for exploration and activity motivate behaviors that lead to increased arousal. Okay, so basically, we are motivated to seek out stimulation that heightens our level of arousal. Now, arousal theories assert that there is an optimal level of arousal that we all try to maintain. And so whenever our level of stimulation dips below our optimal level, we are motivated to seek ways to increase it. And if our level of stimulation is too high, we seek ways to decrease it. So basically, if we're feeling under-aroused, we're getting bored, then we are motivated to seek stimulation. If we're feeling over-aroused, then we're going to engage in behaviors that aim to reduce that level of arousal. Now, optimal levels of arousal vary between people, but what research suggests is that the optimal level of arousal for performance is moderate arousal. So this idea of optimal arousal in relationship to performance on a task is what we have depicted here in this chart. Basically, performance is maximized at the optimal level of arousal. That's when your performance is at its best, and then it tends to taper off during under arousal and over arousal. So basically, let's say you have a presentation to give, or some kind of performance. Feeling a little bit nervous is actually a good thing. You don't want to be so bored and just to the point of not caring, because that's going to affect your performance. But you also don't want to be so highly aroused that you're feeling anxiety, because then again the performance quality is going to drop. Now, Yerkes and Dodson extended this, and they actually said that optimal arousal for performance also depends on the complexity or the difficulty of the task. So yes, performance is best with moderate levels of arousal, but exactly where that moderate level is depends on how difficult the task is. So we've got the blue line here is difficult tasks. You'll see that the optimal level is slightly lower than on easy tasks, which is slightly higher. Easy tasks, it's much easier to become bored, so you want that arousal level to be slightly higher, whereas with difficult tasks, you've already got the added difficulty of having to concentrate on something more complex, so you don't want extra anxiety on top of that. So you want a slightly lower level of arousal for that. There is another video that I've shared that does a really good job of kind of showing you visually the Yerkes-Dodson law, so make sure to take a look at that.